Ladies and gentlemen, we're headed down to Oregon today to get another Sweptline. But if you look, there's no trailer back there because we're gonna try to drive it home. You're watching Lambinsky's Garage. Let's get it. It's all of about 3 a.m. in December. We're headed to La Grande, Oregon. That is 360 something miles away, 5.5 hours. We're gonna go buy a truck and drive it home. But I need to be back here by about 4 p.m. so I can be in a wedding party. What could go wrong? You're right, nothing. So let's go get it. Well, we're getting closer. We're up at the top of Cabbage Pass or Dead Man Pass or whatever it's called. It's a whopping 13 degrees. We got about 40 miles to go, somewhere in there. I'm gonna take a little bit of a rest because I got a long drive ahead of me, either way. Now, would you just look at that? What a gem this is. 1965 Dodge D100. 318 poly, 4-speed on the floor. She's got a good seat, good car, good interior. It runs pretty good too. Pretty solid Oregon truck. But now we gotta drive this thing 300 something miles home. And I think we can do it. I ain't afraid.
She's cherry.
Oh yeah, she's a mint ride.
She's mint.
Well, let's hit the road. The old girl's a little low on movement juice, so let's get her to a gas station, we'll fill her up, and then we'll hit the road. Well, we're getting us some fuel here. And one thing you guys might know about the channel is we've never driven one of these home. And, well, now we're going to. So, that's okay. I've got experience driving these. That pass I'm not looking too forward to, but, you know, it's just going to have to be okay. The list price was one of the most expensive one of these we've ever bought. And, well, after a little bit of negotiation, it wasn't so bad. So it's not the most expensive one anymore. But that's okay. She's going to make her home, and I have faith. You're coming with me, so let's get there. See if we can get a little bit of downtown La Grande in. Out through here. I've got 2 5-gallon cans in the back in case for whatever reason our fuel gauge or we run out. That sign just said 259 miles to Portland. Then I got another like 90 to go from there. I'll give this pass that I'm going over right now, Cabbage Pass, Cabbage Hill, something like that, is it is gorgeous up here. And I noticed something really handy. There's a current calendar in here. So if I break down, I can mark the days off that I'm stuck. Isn't that neat? I mean, how could you get tired of a view like that? Wow. Sure is something, isn't it? That rest area was really slick, and I'm not going to pull into it again, and I don't have to. This thing's running mint. I know that might jinx me a little bit, but this thing is just running awesome. But I can't hear how many RPMs I'm pulling, so I'm only doing 60 miles an hour. I don't need to go any faster than that. That'll make me plenty of time. Anyways, let's keep moving. Well, I'm something like 75 or 80 miles in, somewhere in there. I lost a little bit of power on a hill. She started to buck, and you know, she just hasn't done it since. We made it up, and brakes, you gotta pump them a little bit. The fluid was low and we got it. We topped her off. I just checked it again, and it's up there pretty good. She's a little drafty inside, and I might have forgotten my long underwear, so I'm a little cold. But you know what? The sacrifices we make to get cool stuff is all right with me. The rest of my crew is in going to the bathroom, so let's just walk around this old girl. Listen to that. She's got a real quiet muffler, so I can't hear anything inside. I'm definitely leaking oil somewhere. The whole back of the truck is speckled. I'll go underneath and we'll see what that's about. But she's running like a champ, staying nice and warm, and you know, can't ask for much more than that. So let's get this thing back on the road and make her the rest of the way. Well, we siliconed the rear end. Putting a little more liquid gold in her because she was a little on the low side, but she'll be all right. Keep on trucking.
There's such a strong headwind. Somebody left the fan on again. Man.
Well, we've hit another rest area, and I just checked the liquid gold stick, and she likes to consume. So we'll add some more. But this is a really pretty rest area. We're outside of Mount Hood, or Hood River, something like that. I don't know where we're at. Yeah, what he said. But anyways, we're getting closer all the time. Well, because we're running out of time, the old man's taking over the ship, and I'm motoring back in the old Lambinski hauler, so good luck on your adventure.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you when you get home. All right, good luck. Oh man, look at that. Well, let's head home. Did you have any doubt we'd make it home? Because I didn't. Well, here we are. It's been a few days. I've been pretty under the weather since the wedding. All is all right now. I'm definitely starting to feel better, but it's going to take a little bit more time than I expected to get this out, but it's not going to matter to you guys because it'll be out here soon. But anyways, this truck, and let me say, I'm sorry about the time jump and skipping part of the trip that was left. I really had to go. I was running short on time, and this thing doing 55, 60 miles an hour was going to make me like an hour and a half late. Maybe. And I just had to hop back in my Cummins and hit the road. I made it to my stuff on time, and the old man had zero problems on the way home. Absolutely nothing. He stopped one more time for gas and just putted on home, made it. All the lights worked, everything worked. Not a problem. But this truck does consume a lot of oil for one reason or another. We can't see where it's going or where it's coming from, but you can see that it's not leaking, which is strange, and it's not hazing, which is also strange. It's not smoking, nothing. So maybe the PCV valve is sucking it through or what, I don't know. There's another thing we did notice when we went to start this the next day. It was really, really sludgy and took a long time for the oil pressure to build. Compared to when we bought it, it had been warmed up earlier that day, which is fine, that's not a big deal. This engine's almost 60 years old, so I don't expect it to be perfect. But anyways, we're going to be taking the pan off of this, the valve covers. We're going to desludge it because I'm sure there's just a whole bunch of crap down there in the bottom. But let's go look on the underside of this thing and look at some of the stuff that makes it pretty cool. Let's just start here at the back, and you can see we had a pretty good differential leak. There's actually a couple of cracks up here on the top, but when we got home we checked and there was plenty of fluid left in this. It just leaked a pretty decent amount out. And there was a couple of dimples where it had gotten hit. You can see there's more there, so he just wanted to silicone those up and hopefully seal them if they were leaking at all. But as we continue on, yeah, the transmission leaks a little bit, but there's nothing leaking from the engine that you can tell is fresh. It did have an oil change at one point. There's a fresh filter. There's a new fuel pump, new timing cover. Somebody did a bunch of work to this thing to keep it going down the road. And hey, it proved it because we really didn't have any problems whatsoever. But we got to pull this pan, we got to get it away from the cross member, get that exhaust out of the way, yada yada yada. Then we'll get her unsludged and we'll make this thing run again. We'll just keep going on her. Another thing I'd like to iterate is when we first started doing this stuff a few years ago, my dad had been doing it forever, but I really started kind of full-time doing this before we started YouTube. I bought a 1955 DeSoto Fire Dome 4-door 291 Hemi. And it ran good, but it had the same problem with oil pressure. It was all sludged up and just disgusting inside. So we took the valve covers off, cleaned up all the rockers, cleaned up all that stuff, got it all nice and clean again. And we noticed when filling this up, it took a long time for the oil to get down to the pan to get onto the dipstick. We figured maybe these oil drains in the heads are a little clogged up. So we're just going to pull all that off. We're going to clean them up. And hopefully this thing will be running just as good as new. Because, I mean, if it runs just as good as it did when we drove it in here, that's going to be a bonus. We've got her jacked up enough to get the axle out of the way so we can get this pan off and we'll see if there's sludge inside. Then we can go from there. Well, the pan is off and it looks pretty good in here. Not sure if you'll be able to see it, but up there in cylinder number 8, I can see some cross-hatching. It actually looks pretty good, and the pan doesn't look too bad inside. But let's get some valve covers busted off of this thing. She's not too bad. There's sludge in the bottom, to be expected, but it's not the worst I've ever seen. Now we know you can get the pan off without pulling the starter or the exhaust on these, so that's pretty cool. Let's get that valve cover off. Well, that valve cover was done recently. It wasn't even silicone or glued down. It came off nice, and it wasn't leaking, so that's a bonus. But look at that. we're gonna run a wire down these oil drain holes and see if they're plugged up or not. Ooh.
Feels pretty small.
Yeah. Pretty gummed up too, huh?
I can't tell how far I'm getting down.
This passenger side head over here looks significantly more sludgy than the driver's side.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Well, actually, let me grab the brake clean. All right. Okay, beam me up. So what I'm doing up here is I'm taking brake clean and spraying down these drain holes here that let the oil go down in the head and then go back into the block to see if we have any blockages, and there wasn't. So now we got to look at some other things, but we got to come back down. Well, we've pulled some of these sparking sticks, and let me show you what we got. There's a lot of crap on these, but they're not burning too bad, it looks like. Definitely has been a while since they've been tuned up, but this one, number 4, is an oil burner. Somehow. But the best one we've had is number 8 back here. It looks pretty decent, but if you look at this, one side is a nice caramel color, and then the other side's black. What does that mean? You know, I really don't know. I've never seen that before. But anyways, the oil pan has been cleaned up and reinstalled, along with the starter and all that other stuff. We took it off to make it, you know, just a little bit easier to get all that back on without fighting it. But anyways, now we're doing a compression test. And this one had about 110 pounds in it, which ain't that bad. We got 7 more to go. We'll see what we get. Not bad. Not bad at all. We'll get her warmed up here some and get the carburetor tuned up, and she'll be running like a brand used one. Pretty neat. Sounds like she's got just a massive cam. Pretty good little truck though. Hey, there's a good Christmas present. Not so bad. So, strange thing about this truck. It's a 1965. 1965s came factory with a small back window. This one's got a big back window. So, somebody most certainly ordered that. Pretty cool option though. Not something you see very often. It was really weird driving it home and being able to look over my left shoulder and actually, you know, see something besides the cab? Amazing, I know. But you can't ask for much more than that. She's got the tune now. She's definitely running better. A little rich though. Well, she's charging good. She's up to temp and she's got fantastic oil pressure. Man, can't beat that. But this is a good truck. She's gonna make a mighty fine rig, I think. Well, she's up to temperature. She's got a 180 degree thermostat in her, which is pretty good. And we're about 120 up here on the radiator or so. 110, somewhere in there, but man, not so bad. Beaming me up right now so we can get the brakes bled, and this thing's gonna be pretty well done for now. I mean, the guy that had this, before the guy we bought it from, did a lot of work to this truck. And it's all the stuff that we would usually do anyways. So, we're money ahead. But anyways, let's get them brakes bled and we'll wrap this video up. The brakes are all bled and she's got it on all four corners, but you know, about 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. Or maybe not even 60, more like 6. You gotta pump them, so it needs a master, but that's minor. Anyways, let's get this video wrapped up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I would say that pretty much wraps up this video. This 1965 Dodge D100 made it all the way from La Grande, Oregon to home with 0 problems. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So, if you've made it this far, I'd like to say thank you for watching and staying with us, and you also get a look at some of our new merchandise that we might be putting out pretty soon. I don't really know how to do that kind of stuff, but these are the prototype flex fit hats and the prototype shirts. They have our logo on the front and they have our logo on the back. So, those are pretty neat. If you like them, drop them in the comment, let me know what you think. We'll get a gauge on how much interest is in this kind of stuff, and then we'll go from there. But anyways, hey, this truck is running like a top. It's ready to head down the road again, and, you know, just keep on being a truck for us. So, with that, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.